Hey there, Broniacs. Welcome back to Bronze Over Brains. I'm your man, Bronson, of course, and guys, it is great to see you as usual. I hope everybody's having a great summer so far, and I really also hope that you're staying cool because, I don't know exactly where you guys are in the world right now, but where I'm at, the heat is extremely humid and dry. It's like a combination of the two. And at the same time, it's just uncomfortable being out there for a while. What I'm really here to talk to you about today, Broniacs, is I thought for a while about sharing some experiences with you on a recent trip that my family and I had recently taken in South Carolina. Quite honestly, though, I haven't made a vacation video probably ever since 2020 because I hadn't really been doing a lot of traveling since then. And when I had been traveling since 2020, they were more personal trips and I really didn't get a chance to film anything. But on this latest trip we took, I took plenty of pictures and I even recorded a couple of clips for you that will be very funny later on in the video. But long story short, I wanted to share with you my experiences on a trip that we took to Hilton Head Island and then later on to Savannah, Georgia. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a cool drink, and let's get into our journey to Hilton Head Island and Savannah, Georgia. To begin this video, I thought I should point out that I'm wearing one of my standard vacation shirts to make it feel as if we're at the beach right now. And believe me, I really do miss being at the beach. Of course, the beach we went to, it's not as popular as like Panama City or Miami or anything like that, but it was still a great beach. So to begin the journey on our trip, I want to mention that the drive that we took there, it was a pretty long one because before we went on this trip, Savannah, we went back to Alabama to visit our families, and we decided to go with my parents on the trip because this was a family vacation, and those are things that we don't really get a lot these days. Us being in our mid-20s and not being around our parents so much. But thankfully, my parents went with us and we got into a car. And from Alabama to Hilton Head, it was a considerably long drive, like just about a day's worth of driving. We spent about, I'd say, around 6 to 8 hours in the car, and we made a couple of side stops on the way for like gas and restroom, that kind of stuff. The scenery was pretty good. We did see a few palm trees as we got closer off the mainland in South Carolina. And I want to share this one little thing. While we were on our way to Hilton Head, we at one point came to a street light and there was this red car on the left side of us that was turning, and I have a picture here for you. As you can see in the backseat of this guy's car, he had what I was sure to be a hockey mask. And I was like, is that really what I'm seeing? And so I decided to take a picture of it, and I showed it to Savannah and my parents later on, and I said, can you believe that? I mean, this is something I don't usually see every day, but I don't know, people decorate their cars how they want, and it was just a funny sight to see. I mean, you look to your left, like right outside your window, and Jason Voorhees is in the backseat of someone's car. Oh, it was just the mask though. And so anyway, by the time we arrived at Hilton Head Island, man, the causeway or the bridge, it was one of the two, we crossed over from the mainland to the island, and the river or part of the ocean that was separating the two, it was a beautiful sight. I have a couple of pictures here. It seemed like the causeway or the bridge, it stretched for what seemed like half a mile to a mile, maybe a little more. And so once we arrived at our hotel that evening, we got settled in, of course, and we tried to navigate our way around the resort. And I can't remember the name of the hotel we stayed at. It had Omni in the name, but I don't know if that was the whole name or part of the name, but I know Omni was in the title. And once we got settled in, we did some exploring, and we noticed that near the beach side of the hotel, there were like 2 or 3 swimming pools, a couple of hot tubs, and you see in this picture that I'm attaching right now, there was like this giant chessboard set, and it made me feel like I was in a Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone kind of scene, feeling like I could play something like that. But anyway, it was a great sight. There were a couple of tiki bars on each side of the resort area, the deck area where the pools were. And we decided to, of course, go out to the beach, do a little sunset walking while the sun was still out, because even though it was a long day of driving, we wanted to stretch our legs and just take in the scenery. And so we had dinner, of course, and the next day was when the real fun really began. And so the next day, we decided to do some sightseeing around Hilton Head. If you've never been to Hilton Head before, it's really just an island right off the main part of South Carolina. There's a freeway that circles around the whole island, and the only way that you get off the island is when the highway eventually horseshoes back to that bridge that I mentioned earlier. And it doesn't seem like too many miles on a map, but the personal experience, it seems like it would stretch, the highway, it would stretch for what would seem like 10 to 30 miles the whole way around. But anyway, on our second day at Hilton Head, we decided to try one of the most popular tourist sites over there, and it was Harbor Town. And if you're not familiar with Harbor Town, it's a little attraction where you just go to a bunch of stores. It's like a small strip mall on the side of a river, a small river, and there are a lot of yachts that are docked over there. And I don't know if those boats were personally owned or if they were available to the public for shrimp fishing, ghostly tours, parasailing, that sort of stuff. But there were lots of yachts out there. And when we got there, it was like between noon and early afternoon, because earlier, all we really did once we left the hotel, we ate at this place called Nectar. Nectar as in like nectar from a honeybee to a hive and a flower, that sort of stuff. And the food there was pretty good, by the way. We had a late morning, I guess you could say, brunch, because I had like this chicken sandwich that was like very spicy and drizzled in honey, and it was really delicious. So after we left Nectar, we went to Harbor Town, and we went to a few of those stores that I mentioned. We just walked in and started looking at different merchandise. I don't really have pictures of what the inside of the stores look like because, you'd have to see it for yourself. But I do have some pictures of the iconic lighthouse that's over there at Harbor Town. Savannah and I, me and my parents, we all took pictures in front of that thing. And you can actually climb to the top of that lighthouse. The only downside on that is you have to pay a certain amount of money, and it really is considerably expensive per person to walk up probably a dozen flights of stairs. But when you get to the tip top, it's a gorgeous sight to see. Now, we didn't really go to the tip top because we were already walking so much at that point that we just wanted to take pictures in front of the lighthouse. And of course, we went to the outer dock of Harbor Town and took pictures there. It was actually very serene. I'd say that if I ever went to Hilton Head for anything else, minus a vacation, I would go there for a retirement spot. And actually, a lot of people go over there to do that, to either settle down and retire, play golf, because there are lots of golf courses at Hilton Head, and just enjoying the beach. That's why I mentioned earlier that it's not as big on the beach stuff as other beaches in the South and across the United States, but Hilton Head is still a pretty relaxing spot to get a tan and enjoy some good food, have plenty of fun. And so, let's see, that evening, after we returned to our hotel, we decided to, before dinner, go to the beach again. And here's the crazy thing. We walked for maybe a mile down the shore because, we don't get many chances to go to the beach. Not really. And we just kept walking and walking. And during that walk, I noticed that there was this giant sandcastle that was made, but it was left all alone. Nobody was going to it. I have some pictures here for you. Yeah, it was just abandoned, but it was still a pretty good looking sandcastle. And I thought, man, I have to get some pictures of this. And of course, as we kept walking, there came this giant wind that carried everyone one direction of the beach, kept them going to one side of the shore because it was hard to walk against it to go to the other side. Actually, I have some clips here for you that I recorded to capture the windstorm that we went through, and it's actually pretty hilarious. Take a look. This is Bronson Layton for Bronze Over Brains, giving you an active weather report. We are currently walking back to God knows where we are in South Carolina. And this wind out here is really picking up. It's like we're trying to escape from, trying to escape from a very large jet engine that's trying to suck us back in. I'm telling you, if you saw those pictures I just put on the video, we're feeling the opposite effect because we're going the other way where the wind is coming. So no wonder that my hair looks like I'm getting a mohawk. So hope you all are enjoying your summer, and excuse the hair. Now it's coming our way. I hope I don't get salt in my mouth. Should have worn masks out here. I think there's a sandstorm coming. I mean, look at the way it moves. Oof. So windy out here. Isn't that pretty? As As you could tell from those clips, it was like extremely windy. I don't know if you could hear me talking, because I don't know how my voice sounded on camera against that loud wind. But really, I wanted to capture that sand that was flowing right against the shore. It was beautiful. It was like, I imagine if someone was walking in the Sahara Desert for a while, a completely dry place, and there came a sandstorm, that wind would carry that sand right across the ground as if it was a mist. And I really wanted to capture that. The one thing I do regret about getting those camera shots was how my hair looked. I can't remember if it really made my hair stick up too much, but I was caught up in the moment, and I knew that I wasn't recording any clips like I usually would for a vacation, but it was in that one rare moment that I wanted to share with you some actual footage of what we went through on one of our trips. And so on our third day, what we decided to do, it was a little extreme, but it was extreme in a good way. We decided to take a little drive from Hilton Head to Savannah, Georgia. And the distance there, it wasn't that bad. I think it was about an hour drive, but really, in truth, my family and I, we've never been to Savannah, Georgia before. Not until that day. And we wanted to really see the sights there, and me personally, I made it my personal mission to visit the very area where Tom Hanks played Forrest Gump, and he sat on a particular bench in Chippewa Square. So we made the drive to Savannah. We crossed over a big bridge that was right in the middle of the town, or I'm going to say city, connecting one part of the city to the other over a river. And when we got there, it was hard to find parking. We ended up parking in this lot that we would have to pay for a certain amount of time. So we thought we'd explore the city for like, I'd say 3 hours. And so our first stop was, we made it to the side of the river. I can't remember specifically what the name of this part of Savannah was, but it was like on this side that connected certain stores together, and you could see the river on the other side. It was a giant place. I saw actual ships, cargo ships, going right across the bay, and it was a sight to behold, because I'm not really one that's used to being exposed to cargo ships. And so I just took a picture of a cargo ship and this ferry, not a fairy godparent, but an actual ferry boat that came by and went under the bridge. And the sights there were pretty cool. At some point we went to a candy store, a very big candy store. It's like one of those stores that would make you think about that store at the beginning of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, when the clerk starts singing the Candy Man. It was like that much candy that was around the area. I didn't get many pictures around that particular area that we visited, not the candy store, but we did also see a honey store. It was the Savannah Bee Company, now that I remember correctly. And we actually sampled different flavors of honey, pure honey, that the city of Savannah distributes across the country. It was very delicious. And at one point, I actually tried a very spicy honey that I ended up buying. And here's a picture of me holding it later on. I got it, and I still have it right now. Like, I'm going to use it on chicken and a few other dishes in the future where I feel like it'd be appropriate to glaze some honey on. Very spicy stuff. And we also went to a Christmas store because, for all you viewers out there, in case you didn't know, my fiance, she really loves Christmas time. And since we're like several months away from the holidays, you just wait until she gets into decorating mode around this place. And so yeah, we went to a couple of other places. And when we got out of the Riverside area right there, we decided to do some walking. And I really wanted to see Chippewa Square, the very area where some scenes from Forrest Gump had been filmed. And so we walked what felt like 10 blocks at least to get to that particular area of Savannah. And man, oh man, the heat was high. And thank God that I wore shorts that day, because I don't think I could have walked in 95-degree weather in blue jeans and walking up lots of street hills. I could not do it like that. But eventually we did make it to Chippewa Square. Oh, here's where it's going to get really messed up, guys. I'm sure that a lot of you who might know this fact, what's about to come up, you might be laughing at me, because I wanted to see the bench that Forrest Gump sat on in the movie. Well, guess what? By the time we got to Chippewa Square, we couldn't find the particular bench. We looked all around, there were benches everywhere, and we thought there'd be a sign that would tell us which one it is. And so when we got there, there was this guy who was holding a guitar, and he asked us, "You guys looking for the Forrest Gump bench?" And we said that we were. And he said, yeah, the actual bench has been moved to, I'm pretty sure he said some kind of museum somewhere in the city. Because as it turned out, the actual bench we were looking for was just a prop used for the movie. And since Forrest Gump came out around 30 years ago, in the years between then and now, people have been vandalizing the bench, saying Johnny and Susan forever, that sort of stuff. And it came to a point when the city decided to take the actual bench, the prop, and put it in a museum somewhere. So the sad thing is that we didn't get to see the bench, but the exciting news was we had made it to that very area. And I took a selfie right near the sign where it said Chippewa Square. So if you see my face right in this picture, I look half defeated because I couldn't take a picture on the bench. I was going to make a replica of the movie poster where Forrest is looking like this. Yeah, sadly that didn't happen, but I was very happy to know we eventually made it. Savannah, as it turns out, is a huge place, and I didn't think we could handle all that walking, but we did. And we had to get back to our car at that point. Like, we had to haul tail right there because our timer told us that we had about 15 minutes before our 3 hours was up. And I didn't know how strict they were on paying for extra time. So we had to walk another 10-ish blocks back to that parking lot. But we made it with a couple of moments to spare. And we just got out of there. We left Savannah, and we made it back to our hotel. And so the next day, we left Hilton Head, and we went home after that. It was still a long drive home, but it didn't feel as long as the drive getting to Hilton Head was. I guess we were kind of used to it at that point. But yeah, that was our journey to Hilton Head, and we had a lot of fun on that trip. We tried lots of different foods, saw the sights, and we got to, in a way, visit a movie scene location. And fun fact, My fiance actually is named after the city of Savannah. I was told that that was the inspiration for her name in the first place. So that'll be a memory to remember. And so if any of you are interested in visiting Hilton Head or Savannah, Georgia, we highly recommend it. There's literally lots to do, but you really have to be sure that you know where to park and you know where to go, because the sightseeing, it could take a very long time to get from point A to point B because there is a lot of walking involved. And so yeah, that's where we're gonna wrap up our video for today. I hope you Broniacs enjoyed this little vacation video, and I am looking forward to seeing you next time here on the channel. If you like today's video, please consider leaving us a thumbs up and subscribing to Bronze Over Brains here on YouTube. We really appreciate the support. And on a final note, I hope you guys all have an amazing summer, and I hope you have lots of fun with all the trips that you have planned for this summer. If you want to share your experiences with any vacations or trips that you went on, please feel free to share with us in the comments about your favorite trip. But on that note, this is Bronze Over Brains. I'm Bronson Layton, always reminding you to stay brawny. See you guys later.